Some might call it a glorified soccer mom, but I guess whichever way you want to look at it, it is. I am the fixer slash mom, I guess.
On the screen, Michael Kafari, manager of operations for AC Boise. Welcome to Morning Kickaround.
Hi, Robert. Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming by, Michael. We've talked to a lot of people at AC Boise. We talked to Nate Miller. We talked to, we've talked to guys involved in getting things off the ground in town. Give us a description of your role with AC Boise and what is on your desk, what you care about right now.
The biggest thing on my desk is keeping guys healthy, making sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes, keeping coaches happy. And, practice is usually the most important thing of the day. So that's top on my list. And then when it gets to the weekend, making sure everyone has whatever they need to be ready for the games.
Would you call yourself a soccer fixer at this point? Like anything that is needed from a player or a staff member, you're on top of it, making sure everything's running smoothly. Is that what you're saying?
You can put it that way. Some might call it a glorified soccer mom, but I guess whichever way you want to look at it, it is. I am the fixer slash mom, I guess.
Well, okay, so your background, your connection, right? You're a Boise guy, right? So like one thing we want to hear from people who are from there building this club is what it means to have professional soccer in Boise, something that didn't exist when you were growing up and playing high school and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, from my memories, childhood memories of playing soccer and youth soccer, going out to Simplot Complex, spending the whole weekend there with my family. It's always a dream to, play professionally, and to not only play professionally, but play professionally in Idaho. So, I mean, obviously my time has passed to play, but, just living out that dream to give the youth of Boise something to look forward to has been a goal of mine and something I truly believe in. So having soccer come here has just been a life-changing moment for me. It's something that I can always look back on and say, you know what, I helped bring professional soccer and help kids live out their dreams in Idaho.
Yeah, if there's no Michael Kafari, there's no AC Boise. That's pretty clear, right? We're all 100% locked in on that truth, right?
I mean, I don't know about that. I think I'm a small piece of the puzzle. The money piece is big too as well. So, I'm very thankful the ownership was able to get this done, and, we'll be excited.
Yeah, so you are from Boise, your hometown. When you were growing up, it sounds like, did you think that this was even a possibility? Like you were an outstanding high school player, you had a professional career in soccer, and then did you return home? I was told that you were also like a day one employee of the club. Like explain that process of you were living there, and then now this whole project had began.
Yeah, so when I left Boise, I was 18 years old. I went to college. I never thought I'd come back. I never thought professional soccer would be a thing in Boise. Went off to college, did well, got drafted into the MLS, played a year there, played in the NASL, went overseas, came back. So it was never, I was always here for the off seasons, but it was never something I really thought about until later on in my career, where I'm hearing all these whispers and rumors that Boise is a huge territory for professional soccer. And, there were rumors here and there, so I was like, it probably won't happen. We'll see. Then I get back home. Then I got involved with a couple of the owners, Bill Taylor, and especially, and he was like, "No, it's happening, man." And having traveled 8-9 years, I was like, oh, that would be cool. That'd be awesome for Boise. But, my time's passed. So, I'll do everything I can to help out, stand this thing up. And, I was just getting roped in slowly from day one, from community engagement to scouting. And then now I'm, every day back to the soccer schedule,
So was this the how do I say this? What did you imagine that your post-playing career life would be? I mean, it's obviously this came together. You might not have expected it. And now, as you said, I don't think it's fair, but glorified soccer mom, like your job is to make the soccer better by taking care of everybody's needs. And you know what it's like to be a professional player and what is needed to perform at the highest level. So did you see this? I mean, did you imagine a role like this when you were done playing?
No, absolutely not. I thought once I was done playing, I would have weekends, and be able to do normal people stuff.
Nope.
So,
Nope.
I did that for a year or two, and it didn't feel right. I had a lot of time on my hands. I missed the game a lot. I missed the locker room a lot. So even though I got roped into this slowly, it was, it felt natural. It felt natural to kind of be involved in soccer. But no, I definitely am happy to be back in it, and never, whatever shape or form I can help this club, I will, because I'm from Boise and I believe in this. This has been soccer has been my life, so it means more to me than anything.
So on Saturday night in a rainy Sarasota, Florida, AC Boise officially is a playing club. You hit the field. You got a win, a 100% record. You should just quit now. You got 100% record. You got all 3 points. All points available to you. AC Boise has collected. But kind of walk us through that. Like the plans became a reality over the weekend.
Yeah, it was quite the weekend actually. We had a weather delay, and this is where being a glorified mom, you step up and make sure everything goes right, with weather delays. So, it didn't feel real that soccer had a pro team until the kickoff for me, right? As soon as that whistle blew and the ball was kicked back, then all the emotions rushed down, and I was like, wow, we put Boise on the map. Boise's actually on the map. Then we scored the goal, and I mean, I couldn't tell you what happened after the goal. The bench went nuts, I think everyone a little bit blacked out for a second. Dennis came running over. Everyone came running over. It was something out of a movie, and it was definitely a moment that I'll keep with me for the rest of my life.
So as we said, I mean, you begin life on the road in Sarasota. You're still 24 days away as of this moment from home kickoff, and we've talked to Brad Stith, and we've seen the pretty pictures of the stadium preparations, and I've mentioned this several times. My sister lives down the road from the stadium. Hopefully, I get out there to see it, and I get a chance to visit her and kill two birds with one stone. But for you, a native who grew up there playing soccer, can you give us a sense of your expectation of what that day might be like come April?
It's probably going to be one of the wildest days at the fairgrounds, if you ask me, because that's where the stadium's at. It used to be a horse track, and everything used to go. That was where it was at. All the entertainment events, the fair. Obviously, I actually learned how to drive in that parking lot when I was 15. So it was, it's full circle. And, so that used to be a place where everything happened. So for most, Boise, Idaho natives, they remember that, right? And now it's not a horse track, it's a soccer pitch. So I expect it to be crazy. I expect it to be rowdy. Hopefully not too rowdy that we can't get through the game. But Boise's been waiting for this for way too long. So it'll be a good one.
Sounds like it's definitely been bubbling up for quite some time, and that's some great context, and that might very well bode well already. AC Boise has done a great job in this build up to this, but you're saying that this location is already a cultural hub, and folks, you just mentioned you learned how to drive there, and there's all sorts of people have great fond memories of entertainment there, so it only goes to a whole nother level, and it connects to soccer. That must be I can't even imagine. Can you describe that feeling, like what you're going through?
Yeah, it's every morning I drive to the stadium, and all the memories come back, and then I look at the stadium. I see the developments every day. There's a new major development in the stadium. We went to Sarasota, came back. The stadium's completely painted now. So every day, just watching the build from ground up has been something special, and being involved in it has been, very, I guess, how do I put it? It makes it makes me feel like, I'm going to leave soccer in a better position in Boise,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we want to celebrate on this show as we talk about these new teams. And you may have caught us before you came on, Michael, talking about some of the underlying structures of American soccer. And I've been writing and talking about these things for a long time. So, I want the game to continue to grow. Boise seems like a perfect place for a team that, doesn't have to shoot for the moon, doesn't need to build a 35,000 seat stadium, can do something that is appropriate for the community that clearly does have a soccer culture there. You're an example of that. Blake Bodley is an example of that, obviously. The Bill Taylor, the people that are there supporting the game. So I love that. I was looking at your resume, your playing career. You played very close to where Rob is. You were in Detroit City FC, not too far from where Rob is. My wife is from Puerto Rico. It looks like you spent some time in Puerto Rico. I would love to hear what you made of your time there with soccer. I'd like soccer to grow in Puerto Rico. That would be very nice for me. You also were at the Cosmos. I'm curious whether you think you have a point of comparison, or is it you just kind of have to, this is going to be completely different. Boise's going to have its own thing that's very separate from what you've seen playing around the country and abroad.
Yeah, I mean, those are all really good markets. Detroit's fan base, as you know, is one of the best. New York Cosmos have great history. And Puerto Rico was a team that Carmelo Anthony, put in Puerto Rico in the NASL back in the day, which was a really fun league to play in. But I feel like Boise is, after meeting the ownership and getting involved with them, they're on a different trajectory. Really good people, local people who are so bought into soccer. And they want this to be successful, right? They want to change the community, the soccer community, and that's something to be very excited about. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what ends up happening with this club, year 1, year 2, all the way up to year 5, especially when we actually introduce the women's side. That would be great as well.
Women's side in the future. That's a good note for those curious about that. But we said it's 20-something days until that home opener. What's like the biggest challenge between then and that home kickoff for you specifically?
Me specifically with my job, making sure the players are healthy. Like I said, referees show up on time. Everything goes well with the kickoff. But I mean, that's already in place. I mean, the club has hired really good people in the front office to get that done. And everyone's working 24/7 and so bought into making this work that I think it'll be a good show.
But just so again, soccer operations, that seems like a big category, Michael. There's a lot of stuff that might fall under your purview. Like, what's the thing that maybe people don't realize has to get done to make a professional soccer game happen that you have to think about? Maybe something you didn't even think about from being a player that now you have to be involved with. Is there a good example of that?
Yeah, I mean, as a player, you never really think about, more than a week ahead, right? Because you're just Monday practice, Tuesday practice, recovery, you got 11 aside, and then Friday gets there, you're on the road. So with my job, I have to think about it 3 weeks in advance and then work back from that. Whether it's the food, the travel, the hotel, the kit, submitting the lineup to make sure everyone's all uploaded, making sure guys who have cards don't get on the roster. It's a lot of tedious behind the scenes work. But I will say having played has given me an edge on that. So I identify issues before it happens, So if, let's say we have a change of schedule to have a lift one day, then it's, I got to call the food delivery to come a little bit later because the guys are going to go lift and then they eat later. So it's definitely having a picture of what a practice day and a travel day and a match day goes. It's definitely given me an edge in my job.
Yeah, that's some great context there. You might have, or you definitely have an advantage of someone that's in your position that didn't have that playing career, and then you had a few different stops in different situations as a player. So I'm sure you could say who did that job better and who didn't do that job quite so well.
Correct.
So you're prepared to help out those players.
We shouldn't put Michael on the spot and ask him to like rank the clubs by operation level. That we shouldn't do that, right? That's unfair, Michael.
You can.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go top 5.
Well, okay. How about just the
Top
best one? Like the best one, the one where you felt like everything was taken care of, felt the most professional. You set you up as a player for success because obviously that's your goal with Boise.
Well, I'll give you top 2. You mentioned them. I would say Detroit City was probably number 1. And then New York Cosmos was number 2.
And was it just like when you walked into whatever the workout or the training room or the game day, they just had everything that you needed? Or if they didn't, they'd get it for you? Is that essentially what you're saying? They just had the bases covered?
No, it was better than that, right? They knew what I needed before I even knew I needed it, if that makes sense. So like if I had let's say I got in a tackle, there's a rip in my sock, right? At halftime, my new socks are ready. Right.
Hey,
halftime, if I sweat a lot, I sweat a ton, right? So I was one of those guys that like before I even think about it, I'm walking in the locker room, my jersey's already hanged up in the locker. I change so I can have time to have the halftime speech with the coach. It's just that those little things go a long way for players.
All those things that you don't, as a player, you don't have to think about because that makes a lot of sense. I wish I had somebody like that in my life, Michael. Could take care of all the little things so I don't have to think about them. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael. Do you have any other notes that you'd like to share about your experience or what fans can expect for that home opener?
I think you can expect it to be loud. You can expect it to be entertaining. And you can expect it to be fast. We have very good players, good people to begin with, but very competitive players. And all they want to do is win. I don't think I've been around a group as competitive as these guys. So it will be exciting.
No doubt about that. Michael Kafari, Manager of Soccer Operations for AC Boise. Thank you so much for joining us and all the best moving forward with this big inaugural season with the club.
Thank you. And I've noticed there's some scarves in the background, and then you have, Robert, you got some kits back there. I don't see any AC Boise in there. So
talk to your girl, Krista. Talk to Krista about that.
We there's only so much of my budget I'm allowed to spend on soccer gear in my house, Michael. I've pushed the limit. Talk to my wife. So would we proudly display AC Boise stuff? Absolutely, we would. I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Guys.